Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a fun homeschool video for you coming up right now. Please hit the subscribe button right now. Give me a thumbs up if you want to. Also comment below. That helps me reach more people. So let's dive in. So I'm just gonna start by saying this is what we have found to work best for our family. This is not the best choice for every family, but I just wanna show you guys what works best for us. So we have one child in 3rd grade and another in TK, and we have a 1-year-old. That doesn't really do much of what we do except for just hang out. So let me show you what we got going on this year. We've been homeschooling for a while. You guys, it's so hot right now. I think it's like 110 almost today. It's hot, and I'm in my sunroom and there is no AC, so you're gonna see me do a lot of this. Oh God. Okay. Okay, so we've had a lot of trial and error. We've had some schedules that were really rigorous homeschooling. We did this at 9 o'clock, we ended by 2 o'clock. And that didn't work so much for our lifestyle. We live on a farm here. Things happen unexpectedly throughout the day, all the time. We have lots of animals, we have a garden to tend to, and life with 3 kids is always chaotic. So we don't quite know how our day is gonna go every day, and that's totally okay. But we do have a rhythm that we stick to generally, and this is what's worked so far. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the curriculum that we use this year as a baseline, as well as some books that we love and we can't live without, and some books that we're going to be trying this year. We are a very literature-inspired family. We love novels and poetry, and so we kind of use that as a guideline. So this is the Oak Meadows curriculum that we use. This is the grade 3, and it is a Waldorf-inspired curriculum. It's awesome. This is our baseline, but we do add different curriculums for different things. For instance, I'll show you guys in a little bit, we use a different math curriculum than this, and that's the beauty of homeschooling. You can basically piece together whatever you want. Okay, so Oak Meadows, Waldorf-inspired grade 3 course book, okay? This is a complete curriculum. It goes through math, it goes through science, language arts, arts and crafts, music, health. There's learning assessments in here. It basically has everything you need if you are kind of a Waldorf-inspired homeschool family. So I'll show you some examples. Each lesson is for the week, okay? So you start with a morning circle, and Waldorf is really big on like circle time verses that you recite and memorize. My kids really like that. They're still in the elementary school ages, so they really like that memorization and the poetry. That's still pretty fun for them. And then it shows you just each day what you need to be doing. There's a language arts portion, and they give you some reading examples, which I'll show you. We do have all of these books that we're gonna be going through throughout the year. There's the social studies, language arts, there's math, and science, arts and crafts. This gives you a bunch of examples of things you can do, and it's all related to each other, most of it. And then the music, the health, and then there's a learning section. So that's an example of the course book. You can go throughout the whole year, and it kind of goes along with the seasons, which I like. And obviously, Waldorf is very like nature inspired, so it really gets us outdoors, which I really like about this curriculum. Along with this book, also included in the curriculum is a resource book. Okay, and this goes over stories. There's some cooking recipes. Can summer just be over now, please? All right, guys, also included is the guide to teaching the early grades. There's lots of verses, songs, and finger plays in here that are super fun for the morning circle time. Let's see, music instructions, guideline for the handcrafting. Here's some knitting, crocheting, and all kinds of fun things. Arts instructions, like the clay, the watercolor, the art of storytelling. This is a cool book to have too. Okay, so I think it's in 2nd grade that they start the recorder. They would start with the beginning recorder book. And then they move on in the third grade to the advanced recorder. My daughter was not that into recorder. She was more into learning piano, so we just kind of like forgot about that. These are some little blank books. They're supposed to be like little art books. We use them as nature journaling. So Alice and I and Raylan and the baby will go outside and we'll observe things, and then we'll sit quietly and draw them. So she found this moth and she drew it. So that's just an example of nature journaling. Okay, so for third grade, Oak Meadows suggests these books. First one is Little House in the Big Woods, The Wizard of Oz, Pippi Longstocking, which we've already started, Winnie the Pooh classics, and The Velveteen Rabbit. So depending on your child's reading level, they can read these on their own. The words are pretty small. My daughter's a pretty good reader, but even this can be a little challenging, but challenging is good. Otherwise, the adult can read aloud, or you can go back and forth. Adult reads 2 pages, kid reads 1 page, and you can do an aloud reading together, which is kind of fun. Or Carpentry for Children is a book that goes along with the Oak Meadows curriculum. This one is like super outdated. I'm pretty sure this is from the 80s. But my kids still think it's cool. They like building stuff themselves. This is like things I wouldn't be able to build, but I don't know, these kids are kicking butt, so that's it for the Oak Meadows, but I have some other books that we really were excited to start this year. The first one being The Secret Garden. This is a really big book. I think this is a book that I'm gonna read aloud, and I usually read aloud at bedtime, or if it's like a rainy day or something, we'll kind of just like snuggle up on the couch and have some snacks and hot chocolate, and I'll just read aloud for like 30 minutes to an hour, and the kids can like play on the ground next to me if they want. But yeah, this one will, I think, be sweet for like the rainy season. Anne of Green Gables, of course. This is a huge book too. This is probably a book that I'll read aloud this year as well. This is a cool one from Usborne or Usborne or Usborne. I never know how to say it. The Illustrated Stories of Shakespeare. It is child friendly, of course. But I just think it's kind of cool, right? I mean, we can talk to our children about Shakespeare, and there's all kinds of really cool illustrations. I really like this book, and I can't wait to get started on it. Keeping going with the Usborne or Usborne, whatever the heck. These books, this is a world religions book. I think this is the coolest book. It goes over a bunch of different type of religions, and I just think it's really cool to be well-rounded and to learn about this. The Geography Encyclopedia. We're going to be doing a section pretty soon about learning around the world and geography. This is kind of cool. Talks about water and clouds, temperature climates, a bunch of different type of things in here, but it also touches on different places in the world. The Middle East, for example, let's see, South America, and I love the illustrations. I mean, these are beautiful pictures and illustrations, and ecosystems. This is a book to have, you guys. This is a really cool book. And a lot of these books are great because I can use it with my 3rd grader, and I can also use it with my son who's in TK. They can learn all about this stuff together. So moving on, my daughter in 3rd grade is beginning cursive. So this is kind of just a fun workbook. And she can go in here and kind of practice her cursive. This is something you can just kind of put in front of her and say, go ahead, work on it. And she'll work on this for about 10 minutes or so. And yeah, it's pretty simple. So moving on. So this is the Nourishing Traditions Cookbook for Children, along with the Wise Traditions book that I have, or Nourishing Traditions is the Western A. Price Foundation, which is kind of the way of life that we like to practice. So this is really cool. It's really healthy eating and fun little recipes for children. Tomato soup, butternut squash bisque. It's pretty simple stuff. In Oak Meadows, our art section is all about cooking in 3rd grade. So this is kind of a fun thing to add in there. The Greek omelet. So one day we can do the Greek omelet, and then we can read about people in Greece. It's kind of fun. Sauerkraut, I love it. So we do some journal writing every day. I have a journal prompt, or she can free write, depending on what she wants to do. If she needs some help thinking of something to write, I'm happy to do a journal prompt for her. Or a lot of the time we write about what we read about the night before. So she goes in here and just says a few sentences. And every once in a while I'll have her do a sentence in cursive or practice her cursive letters. And yeah, and sometimes she'll do a little drawing. This is a cool book that I found on Amazon. This is Painting and Drawing in Waldorf Schools. It's a pretty big book, but it gives you step-by-step on how to teach watercolor art. And it's kind of cool. I like it. It's a really hefty book. We haven't honestly gone too much into it yet, but I plan to this year. This is a really cool book off Amazon as well. This is called A Children's Seasonal Treasury. So it's season by season, different fun things. There's some verses in here. There's some recipes. I really like this book a lot, you guys. Finger plays and riddles, and it goes by the seasons, which is super fun. There's some songs here. Yeah, this is a really cool book. If you guys are into Waldorf and you have Amazon, this is a must have for sure. And the paintings are really pretty too. Okay, this is not related to the Oak Meadows, but it is another Waldorf type curriculum for preschoolers. It's more of like a rhythm type thing, and I really love it. So it goes from like week 1 to week 2. For example, let's start by saying this is called Whole Family Rhythms, wholefamilyrhythms.com. Week 1, it's all about pumpkins and harvest. This is in October. And it goes through like a finger play and some little weekly stories and some things to do, like for an example, a weekly hike and things to talk about and look for. On Monday, you'd be in the kitchen. Every Monday, it's in the kitchen. They're talking about making pumpkin soup and a recipe. Tuesday is watercolor painting, red and yellow focusing. On Wednesday, there is coloring with the autumn colors. Waldorf is really into beeswax crayons, which we also like and use. Thursday is into crafting. This is a butternut squash candle house, super cute. Then we have Friday, which is beeswax modeling and the color orange. And then you go on to week 2, this is corn and charity, and it goes on and on. We've actually had this for years. I've been using this since Alice, our 3rd grader, was in preschool. And now I use it for our son who's 4, but Alice still plays along with this and does everything we do in here. So it's fun really for all ages in elementary school. Okay, so let's go on. I just got this. This is called Wild Math Curriculum, and it's for 3rd grade. It's basically like outdoor math. And I haven't honestly gone too far into reading into this. This is something that I've been meaning to do the last couple of weeks, but it just looks really cool, right? So they have, it's all like outdoor math. So they write on stones, and it's just basically getting up and getting moving, getting out of the house. Yeah, I just think it's kind of fun. And there's some cool ideas. Okay, sticking with the math. This is what we use for math, sex and math. This is a student workbook. There's a parent handbook. Basically, it's just work pages. And it's all up to state standards. So we kind of do this if I need her to sit and just do some math while I do other things. It's just good practice. Now that I'm officially sweating, I look like I don't even know. It's just hot. Okay, so we also do iReady, and it's an online type thing. It's fun for her. It kind of doubles as like a screen time type thing. So my 3rd grader does the iReady math, and then she does some reading comprehension on there too, just to kind of switch it up. My TK guy, he does a lot of ABC Mouse. So that's like a learning subscription that you have to pay for every month. And he really likes it. It's really fun for him. It doubles his screen time, and it's just like play, but he's learning. So I am gonna do a movie about a day in the life, but just in short, what we do basically is we wake up around 7:30. I don't believe in alarm clocks unless we really have to be somewhere, which is not often. I basically let my kids sleep in as long as they want because I think sleep is really important. And if you're tired, your body is trying to tell you to sleep because it needs that rest to replenish itself and to heal yourself. So sleep is really important. Anyways, so we generally wake up around 7:30 to 8. We have our breakfast. It's usually a warm breakfast. We sit around that table. We talk about our daily intentions and what we're going to be doing that day. We talk about the reading that we had the night before. I usually have my 3rd grader and my 4-year-old recall the reading, what they thought about the reading, and just paraphrase. Then we go out with the animals and we spend about an hour and a half outside feeding the animals, make sure everyone have fresh hay, fresh bedding, food, water, and make sure everyone's brushed down, the dogs are fed, the cats are fed, make sure the garden's watered. We'll fertilize the garden if we need to that day, or we'll pick our vegetables and our fruit that we're gonna have that day. Yeah, we've got a lot of animals here on the farm, so it takes us about an hour and a half to 2 hours. We take our time with it. We're in no rush to get to actual like sit down school. So usually when we come in, it's around like 10:30, 11-ish. We'll usually have a snack and we'll sit down and get started. Let me say this, actual sit down time for my 3rd grader and my 4-year-old all together is probably like an hour a day, an hour and a half, maybe. That includes like art, math, everything that we do that we're sitting down at a table. I strongly believe that children elementary school age are not meant to sit down at a desk for a long period of time. They need to be moving their body, they need to be touching things, they need to be smelling things, using all of their senses and learning through play. So when we actually sit down, I think it is important to do some sit down work, and it works well for our family. Like I said, it's not gonna work well for every family, but I do like sitting down and learning about cursive writing. I think writing is really important, the reading is really important, the math is really important, and then everything else comes second to that. So we sit down, we do our journal work first thing, then the next thing we move into is math. We do math, one of the first things, and that is because it is not the most loved subject in our house. So if we're gonna be sitting down and we're just gonna bust out a page, practice math. A lot of times we'll do some math outside with big chalk on the sidewalk, and that's pretty fun. And then we'll usually move on to some reading. When I put the baby down for a nap, we can move into language arts and social studies. We'll do history, we'll do a science, and we'll do an art. So just to give you a general idea, for math, we usually do that about 4 times a week. This is for our 3rd grader I'm talking about. For history, we do that about once a week. Science, we do that about 3 times a week. Language arts, 5 times a week. Art, 3 times a week. That includes like the watercoloring, the clay sculpting, the cooking, that's 3 times a week. Then we do the social studies 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, so I really like novels, I really like reading. The thing I read about most is homeschooling and homesteading. So here's some books I love about homeschooling. This one is well loved. This is called The Well-Trained Mind. This is kind of more of a classical approach. You don't have to be just Waldorf, just unschooling, just classical. You can be whatever you want, and you can piece together as many different things as you want. We don't categorize ourselves around here. This is kind of it's kind of a baseline. So basically it tells you like each grade level, what books they recommend that they should be reading, what a sample schedule should be like, basically what they should know. For instance, this page talks about 3rd grade. They should be learning about the animal kingdom for 12 weeks, human body for 6 weeks, plant kingdom for 4 weeks, earth science for 14 weeks. So yeah, there's a bunch of really good information in here. If you are homeschooling and you're new to it, this is a great resource to have. Okay, next one, you are your child's first teacher. I have only kind of skimmed through this, but it's definitely on my next to read list. Homegrown, this one is from Amazon. It's a cute book. Basically, it's just this guy's story of how he raises his children just wild and free. It's cute. It's not very informational, but it's kind of like romanticizing homeschool, which is kind of sweet. The Heart of Learning. This goes along with the Oak Meadows book. It's kind of a cool book. It just talks about the early years and what to expect from children and nature's classroom, finding your natural rhythm, etc. A book that I love, that I feel like everybody should have if you're homeschooling young children. It's called The Call of the Wild and Free. And Their podcast is called Wild and Free, and it is just so inspirational. She just talks to the mothers, and she just gives you so much encouragement, and she just says, like, you're doing a great job, we're all in this together, and there's just so many beautiful words, and it is just like a big warm hug from another homeschooling mama, and I just recommend this to everybody. Anyways, that is basically it for me. I hope that this wasn't too like all over the place. I know it kind of was, but I hope that you got something from this video. Please like and subscribe,